when I first came to New York, and I was a little ballet girl and very, I don't know, I looked down on musical theater. That's fear too, I guess. But there was this whole elevated idea of ballet in terms of show dancing, okay? And when I had to survive in New York and make a living, I did audition for a Broadway show and I got it. How to succeed in business without really trying. And these men were great producers, Cy Fure and Ernie Martin and Frank Lesser and Abe Burrows, who directed. And Bob Fosse and Gwen Verdon was our dance captain. So I didn't take long to go, this is really, I want to do this. This was very exciting to have, to tell this story with dance, with music, with great dialogue, and with these great people and these great cast of characters and great talent. So that was the beginning of me with this. I devoted myself to study acting and singing because I thought, I think I can do this for longer than a dancer's life if I learn how to act and sing. So that's what I set about doing, and yeah, that was a really good decision. It starts with acting. I mean, even when I was a 3-year-old running around dancing to music, there was always a story, there was always an image, and which is why we love, you know, musical theater. And so everything is acting based. I love what I call the non-dancing. When you all of a sudden see somebody walk into a room and all of a sudden they're in a dance and it's integrated with the music and it's making you feel a certain way, but you don't see the steps. One of the things that drew me to Michael's choreography and to want to work with him so much is because he believed in that seamlessness in the art form, and I did too. It's everything I wanted, especially with the dances in a chorus line. They were very organic. I mean, it was very, there are steps there. They have to be done a certain way. They're very stylized, but they came out of Michael's point of view and what he wanted to recreate, trying to evoke certain feelings. And yeah, and so that's why chorus line was a dream come true on so many levels. And it does provide a kind of university for dancers who get, you know, it's a place where they can be characters. They're not in the ensemble, in the chorus. He's very much a part of that theater school of dance. And so we became friends, but also pursuing this dream. I kind of jumped on his bandwagon a little bit, you know, and he pulled me along. And that was kind of choreography, wasn't it? The first thing I choreographed was at the Schubert Theater in 1973, the Sondheim concert. And I was asked to do that, and I said, sure. You know, I wasn't promoting myself as a choreographer because I was a big ham bone and I wanted to perform and do all these things I'd spent all my hard-earned money on studying, you know. But it became all part of it. I really think it follows the text and the acting. That's what a story is. You know, Michael kept saying less is more when he choreographed. You know, you can always see when someone is new because they over-choreograph it. They have to put a step on every beat, and they forget that what it's about. What is this about? And that really takes me back to chorus line too, because trying to solve problems, we would have to go right back to the beginning. What is this about, and how does this fit into this? Well, soon after I saw Every Little Step in Toronto, I got the opportunity, a great opportunity, to choreograph Guys and Dolls, one of our great shows, American musicals, for the Hollywood Bowl. And so I had to rush out there, and in 1 week's time, which is really rushed, we had to cast the entire show, dancers. We had some of the stars. We were seeing character actors, you know, Muggs and Thugs and all these great people, and hearing them sing, and we had great casting people. They had them just one after the other. Of course, I couldn't help it after seeing, especially Every Little Step, you know, being on the other side of the play or the table, as it were. You know, I had the reflection, which is, wonderful. It brought me back to, first of all, I hate auditions. I mean, the judging, all of that stuff, but being on the other side, it occurred to me all the things I'd heard all these years before when we were putting it together. Michael saying, you know, Zach has 2 hours. He's got the theater for 2 hours, so that builds in the dramatic tension. It's pressure. And you've got to get this job. And this is the last audition. It's the callback. So all of those elements that he brought to the play, you know, it was kind of coming back and flashing, deja vu. But it's very exciting in a very different way. I have to build all the dances on these wonderful dancers in New York. I'm calling in favors. I'm saying friends that I've danced with, I have to set these dances. I have a wonderful assistant, associate choreographer, James Kinney, who's a Fosse dancer. So all these people we're going to be in these studios and working every day for about 4 weeks, building all of these dances and the staging, and then trying to make it look like it's organic and not steps, you know? And then, okay, after that's done, then I have to fly out there, work with some of the principals so that they can walk in a very short time. We have to mount this, but we'll be in rehearsal rooms, I think, for a week. So all the dances that I've worked on in New York with these wonderful dancers, I then have to teach these dances to the dancers out there that I have already cast. We're on 2 different coasts, and we have email, and the measurements are coming, the designs are coming, the costume sketches are coming, and all of these things, I mean, I don't know. It just, you know, I think it's going to be really good. But you don't even worry about the result right now. You just try to make it right. Well, you know, one of the exciting things I found out with these auditions in Los Angeles were that there are more people that can sing, act, and dance than I ever remember. I think Chorus Line had a lot to do with that, not just because these dancers were in those companies, but because it raised the bar, and it was still highly competitive. So you're called upon to act and sing and dance. And we did it with everyone we saw. And the people that could do all 3 really well, you know, they got the job. And seeing people audition like you do in Every Little Step, you know, it's not always the best people, the most skilled that get the job. And when people can, even in their nerves and fear, bring in themselves, you know, free to feel and be vulnerable, and then if they're able to sing and dance, that's great. But you know, it's the emotional, you know, tug of war you go through, and you go through it just as much on the other side. I know that's hard to believe sometimes, but when you're sitting there, it's like you watched Bob and Bjork in the movie. You really want these people to be good. You really want to, you have to cast it. You've rented the studio for 2 hours, or for, in their case, weeks. And you have to cast it, and you have to get it right. So there's a whole other thing going on the other side. But it's really something for me to remember when I'm auditioning or performing. It's that people really, you know, they'll go anywhere with you if you've come in with confidence and your soul kind of open. You want to see if they're able, first of all, to take direction. You know, I know Bob Avian used to say, I give them a double turn on the right and a double turn on the left, and you see everything if they land in 5th or 4th. But it's the desire to want them to succeed. It's not all judgment. What came back to me is when, in the beginning, when we were putting a chorus line together, everybody was concerned with following their own, bringing their own reality to it, so we could help develop the characters, each in their own way. I remember getting all this information that Michael was saying to Zach about the audition. Don't be dismissive, don't encourage by smiling or being nice. It's painful, it's not kind to smile and let people know that you like them or you're encouraging them, because when the axe falls, it's heartbreaking. It's hard. I just trust that through all of the years of me working, and sometimes choreographing, but mostly performing, that people will know that I am, and I always have tried to be very honest and professional about things. So you want everyone on the table. It's not just my decision, but I do make personal calls to people I know and tell them how well they did. It takes a little effort and it means everything. But this is why the more you can bring yourself to an audition completely with everything, you will be remembered. I mean, you have to do that audition the best way you can and not worry about, it's not your business what they think. Well, I used to trip myself up because, and it's when I teach master class now. I teach this, because I had a problem with it. It sent me to therapy because I thought, why am I sabotaging myself? I would go in, I would drive my pianist crazy because I would go in with music I rehearsed, and then at the last minute, I would pick something I didn't know as well. This is before therapy. And I would go, what did I do? And he would go, why did you do that? I go, I don't know, I just felt like I was in this mood. Well, this mood is fear, that's what it's called, and I was terrified of dealing with the acceptance. And of course, I always like to get jobs that I don't have to audition for. I say yes to those right away. I need a couple audition stories. I do have one actually for chorus line, because it was my favorite kind of audition because I knew I had the job already, all right? So I made them listen to me sing Musetta's Waltz. And I took a rose in, and Joe Papp, Michael Bennett, and Marvin Hamlish, and Ed Kleban. And so after the first bit, of course they thought that was pretty funny and cute. And then when it kind of went away, we kind of paused a bit, then they started applauding, and I said, no, I'm not finished. So that was kind of a horrible joke on my part, I think, to make them enjoy that. But it was fun, and I thought, this is a celebration. It's not an audition. When people come in with that unique sensibility, they grab you. I mean, I went in for one part rather, and really wanted it, and then I ended up doing another part because they liked the audition. So that's a win-win. It's very much, in fact, I call it my little chorus line, because it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I do, of course, music in the mirror, and the show is really my experience. Again, I learned in a very personal way that you connect with people when you tell them the story of your life. And if you can make it entertaining, it's really a device for me to do all the parts that I've done before and all the parts I'd like to do and all the music I'd like to sing. But also then the book followed. I wrote a book that I'm very proud of because I went through a very personal experience that I don't put on the stage necessarily, but I can in more depth put into the book. It was a personal victory for me because many years earlier I was told I couldn't, not only not dance, but I couldn't walk. And this because of rheumatoid arthritis. So this was a terrifying thing. I mean, a dancer, I mean, how ironic is that? Of course, I had to go really in deep and deal with it on an emotional, a spiritual, and physical level. It's like my body said, stop, you're not taking one more step until you pay attention, and that's what I had to do. To come out of that and to realize that I couldn't accept what I was hearing the doctor saying, you can't walk, that's impossible. So I made it my business to educate myself, to read everything, to ask for the first time for help, which was the most important thing because I got help. And through changing my diet, through emotional work, spiritual work, I really changed the chemical balance of my system. And 10 years later, I went back into the Schubert to the same role, in the same theater, in the same production. I mean, shows really don't run that long, or they hadn't. So that was unique in itself. So to come back and start dancing slowly and then getting back into it and then to be on that stage again 10 years later doing that role, that was just, I went, you know, thank God. It's given a lot of people many things, you know, and I've had so many, I'm very proud of it because it has, it's reached so many people. We had no idea. And you know, you feel that if you have anything to do with that at all, that it's a wonderful thing to do. And it did take me on a journey to find myself in a way. And that's what, you know, I think that's what life is. You find yourself, and if you can find yourself in such creative ways, that's even better.